Good afternoon. My name is Lauren Douglas, and I will be doing a grievance discussion on case two from our textbook on full considerations of seniority and ability. This is for class 343 in business at Liberty University. So, my role in this case, I will be taking the role of the HR manager, and my position is that the selection of employee Mary Younger by myself as the HR manager did not violate the contract. So the main points of this case were that the grievance in this case was due to an employee, Robert Elder, feeling as if the promotion of fellow employee Mary Younger was unfair due to his seniority and experience. So a first shift leader position was posted in the case. Together, workers and management summarized a list of requirements that they felt like the new leader should have. Next, Mary had less seniority than Robert. However, Mary scored higher on her evaluation, and management felt as if Mary would take more initiative and have better communication with the employees, so they gave her the promotion. Management felt as if Robert did not take initiative, had poor decision making skills, and when he was a lead, he did not manage things properly, such as him still doing hourly work while he needed to be more focused on management tasks. The local union never filed a grievance previously for people with less seniority getting promoted. The factory manager, Sharon Murphy, did put out a statement prior to the grievance being filed and said that management gave consideration to seniority when making this decision. Two important things to take note here: contract provision 20.1 that's given to us in the case study excludes leader classifications from bidding, and this is in the section that mentions that seniority is a must when considering position changes. Also, contract provision 20.4 states that leadership has to give consideration to seniority and qualifications, not that if an employee has more seniority, they will automatically receive that position. So, my position as the HR manager and why. So, as the company's HR manager, I've carefully read the grievance and done a formal investigation into the claims. After completing the investigation, I have determined that this grievance is unsubstantiated. Provisions in the contract say that consideration has to be made, not that the employee will automatically receive a promotion due to his seniority. Furthermore, both employees went through the same interview and evaluation process. Grievance process initial response. So, as the HR manager, I would accept the grievance and sit and let the union know that I will look into this matter. This is where ethics and good labor management relationships come into play. Common sense, equity, and ethics make for better relationship, which lead to more positive outcomes. The second thing I would do is follow through on the investigation. As a manager in HR, I would go into the grievance investigation unbiased and ready to do the right thing, whatever the outcome. As a representative of the company, I would look for contract language that proves that we were not in the wrong. I would look through, I would look at the section selection process each candidate went through and have discussions with management on reasoning behind the promotion decision. Some of those we've already discussed in prior slides. Um, I would also look for any management clauses in the contract. Just a side note here, it's important to remember that grievances are not meant to be slights against the company, but a civil way for both sides to go through a process rather than just protesting and causing further strife. Step one response. After my investigation, I would sit down with the union and discuss my findings to give them my step one letter. In this discussion for this case, I would let the union know that I, as the company's representative, will be keeping my position and have found that there was no contract breach in the promotion of Mary Younger. This is due to the contract provisions 20.1 and 20.4. Also, both candidates went through the same interview and evaluation process. Mary had a higher score on her evaluation and has better management skills. In this case, we will assume that the union and I came to an agreement and they want to close the grievance due to them also not seeing a contract breach due to management taking seniority into consideration and the fact that in section 20.4 it does not say that a position is guaranteed just because the person has more seniority for this particular position. So, what's the action plan for the grievance? Myself, as the HR manager, the union, and the factory manager will meet with the employee, Robert Elder, to let him know the outcome. The union will go over provision 20.4 in the contract with him. Myself and the factory manager would also let him know that we understand he is upset, that it was a close call for the leader position, and we will go over the concerns we had in promoting him, i.e., the leadership skills, communication skills, him taking initiative or lack thereof, and offer him any additional training and development that he would like to work on um, to help him grow in the future. After the meeting, I would also ask the union go over this provision with any potential candidates in the future so there's no confusion going into the interview stage of the process. I would also offer my assistance if needed with any employee questions. So, conclusion. Labor management relationships are important. So situations such as these, grievances, are why it's of utmost importance to have a good working relationship between the union as an HR manager. Over the past several decades, reports show that the union grievances filed have decreased or have been solved almost every time during step one in the grievance process. Studies also show that younger generations are filing more grievances based on smaller matters, on feelings of what they feel is something unfair towards them. These examples will make joint decisions easier, and the following examples are always remain ethical. If the union uh, can trust that you are performing investigations in an ethical manner, they will be more likely to trust you, and you both will be able to reach a decision faster. Be transparent. Every conversation with the union needs to be transparent and honest. Be open minded. It's a two-way street. As an HR manager, I go into every situation open minded. Even if I found out in another case that something was done wrong on the company's end, I would assure the union I will create an action plan to fix it. So my biblical integration is two verses. So the two verses that came to mind during this process were Proverbs 29:20 and Proverbs 15:18. Proverbs 29:20 says, "Do you see a man who is hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than him." This verse should remind us as Christian leaders that we need to think before we speak, and when we do speak, make sure our words are clear and meaningful to the conversation. This will make things run more smoothly and make for better labor management relationships. Proverbs 15:18 says, "A hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but he is who is slow to anger quiets contention." If we are patient and slow to anger, it will make the grievance process so much smoother. Grievances are a tense time for both the union and the company, but as the HR manager, I would want to represent myself in a way that de escalates the situation rather than adding strife to it. Lastly, I just wanted to go over my references. These are the references that I pulled for my PowerPoint, and I just want to make note of a few in this reference page. So, the contemporary ethical issues in labor management relations, the first reference on this page is a wonderful reference for those who need ethical guidance through certain labor situations such as grievances. Another one that I do want to mention that was a really good reference for me was People Have the Right to Be Mad by mention on this page. It was ultimately over wildcat strikes and labor relations in post World War II, but it had a lot of good information on, allowing our employees to be upset but not letting that be at the forefront of any grievance process, and just learning how to de-escalate those situations with the help of the union. This ends my PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and have a wonderful summer.